Hello. Today is Monday, August 19th, 2024. I'm Theodore Parker, and this is a sideshow coming to you from Lexington, Kentucky. Today, weather-wise, the high will be 80 degrees, morning clouds followed by afternoon sun. And as I said, highs in the low 80s and lows in the low 50s. Threats from Ernesto impacting the U.S. coastal areas. Near record low temperatures, a little cooler than yesterday here in Lexington, Kentucky. Flood alerts issued from New York City to Washington as slow-moving storms swamp Connecticut. Today, sunrise was at 6:51 a.m., sunset at 8:25 p.m. The wind today will be around 3 miles per hour and the AQI is good at 32. Pollen is low. As I said, this is a sideshow. I'm Theodore Parker. And if you're watching the sideshow on Facebook and Instagram, don't forget to like, comment, and share. Talk about it on WhatsApp. Watching the sideshow on YouTube. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And the sideshow coffee cup, buy from me for $17 plus shipping and handling. Pay me through Cash App. So, what's been going on? What's been happening? You may have noticed that I have not been as active on Facebook and its affiliated apps. And that's because I'm going to give you some information that will bring you up to speed as to what's been going on with me. And we'll call this the Tale of Two Phones. My carrier provider, cell phone carrier provider, I had been in contact with them because I was having trouble with my phone functioning. The battery was overheating, and because I have device protection, I requested a new phone. Well, somehow or another things got turned around. And they said they were going to send me a new phone, but I never received it. So customer service was adamant that they had sent it. I didn't have it. I didn't know where they sent it to and so forth and so on. So they ended up sending my name over to the fraud department, and I had to provide current ID to say who I was and to verify my identity, which they claimed they never received via the same email they requested the information on. So this was going back and forth for weeks. It turned into a month or so, and my phone slowly deteriorated to the point where service was cut off, not because I didn't pay, but I could not receive calls or text messages on the phone. And I could not call out or send out text messages on the phone. So for about 2 weeks, my phone was not active. There was no way for me to communicate with anybody at all. So Facebook kind of came to the rescue because it is worldwide and reaches in the countries, and the original, for lack of better expression, mission statement was so that you could stay in touch with friends and family. And that's kind of like what saved the day. So now, at the beginning of this month, I was able to get a new phone. This is the old phone. Probably can't really see too much about it from reflection. And this is the new phone. Both of them are the same make, but not the same model. So, In the process of trying to establish some communications, I did obtain a new phone, but because I didn't have a phone to call the company to turn it on, then I was just stuck, and I didn't have a home phone. So I went to the office of the building that I stay in and asked to use their phone, but the regular people were not in the office at that time, and the staff that was present didn't feel comfortable. But there was someone in there and getting information about the building, and was kind enough to let me use their phone to activate the new phone. So once I got the new phone activated, then I was able to call my cable provider and ask them to install a home phone. So the home phone, which is another story, I'm just used to taking the line and putting it in the wall. Come to find out, the modern version is to take the telephone line and hook it into the modem. So all the time that I'm complaining about no service, no dial tone, several trips to the local office about the situation, because I had access to a cell phone, I was able to call them, and they told me that I had put the line in the wrong place on the modem. Voice 1 and 2. I had it in 2. A person said put it in 1. Instantly I had a dial tone. So now I have a home phone and I have a cell phone. But while all this was going on, it was just nothing that could be said. So in the transition of the old phone being deactivated, the new phone, as you know, you can just wirelessly transfer your apps and your information, your contacts over to your new device. But because I had a new number, a lot of the apps were not recognizing me as being the person wanting to access the app. So I was getting turned around and turned down. This is not only just with social media, but financial apps and whatever other apps that was established on the old cell phone number, but I had not converted them to the new cell phone number because I had no active access and no way to do that. So, week before last, I just didn't go on the app to answer my messages on Facebook Messenger, or Instagram, or WhatsApp. I just laid out. Then last week, because I was trying to do all this, I did not come on the air and broadcast the sideshow with Theodore Parker. So that's how things have been. Little topsy-turvy, up and down, this, that, and the other. And then last week, this phone, the new one, was just kind of getting its legs under it. And my oldest son contacted me via social media and said that he had been taken to the hospital on a medical emergency and had to have an emergency operation. And he had just, quote unquote, got back home from that. And he had given me some new information as to a new phone number, current address updating and things of this nature, and I did the same with him. And then I no longer could access Instagram or Facebook. I was logged out or locked out, according to them, because I had failed to follow their guidelines. So just about this time, like on Friday, Thursday, Mark Zuckerberg, and I'm not just throwing this name out there lightly, all right? He comes and contacts me via text messages a couple of times a month. It's usually the same presentation, we exchange pleasantries, and then he has his presentation he gives me, and the presentation is usually the same just the content varies. So this is one of those times where, like, when you know somebody that owns the company that you're having difficulty with or a problem with the service, why not speak up? So I explained to Mark, I said, well, look, I'm having a family emergency. I'm locked out of Facebook. I can't get on Instagram. I'm just not able to get in there. So if there's anything that you can do, to help me out, please do so. So he didn't say anything else. He had a long line of stuff that he had ready to show me and talk to me about. But once I explained that, I didn't hear anything else. He didn't comment again. So I'm saying, well, I'm hoping by this time, I'm like, my engines are revved. I'm like 0 to 60 and looking for some more space on the highway, So I'm saying, well, I don't know. But finally, today's Monday, Sunday, late Saturday, I started getting a little breakthrough on these apps. And everything has been cleared up, checked again early this morning. So I do have access to my accounts on Facebook and Instagram. So I'm thankful for that it all worked out. But that kind of brought me into play on other things, whether or not the app can actually function on its own if I'm not actually present there to monitor it, because it is all me hands-on. I select the people that come on there, from celebrities to just regular folks. And it also helps me acknowledge that even with celebrities, especially like to say basketball players, for instance, in the history of the NBA, 75 years, only 5,000 people in the NBA have actually stepped their foot on the hardwood and gotten paid. So that being said, it's not so much the celebrities and the billions and millions. It's been said money can't buy happiness, but you can throw a lot of money at a lot of problems to make them go away. But it's the working person, the person that gets up, goes to work 9 to 5 or 8 to 4 or whatever the hours might be, that's just plugging along, keeping a roof over their head, food in their stomach, clothes on their back. That's really the backbone of this country, because all the celebrities and entertainers and everybody are offering a product for the purposes of entertainment to the average person. So all that support and money and millions of dollars and billions of dollars comes from the working class person. So it should not be taken lightly. So even though there's a lot of money in play, as you can discover on Facebook, with the mixture of celebrities, and whether in the entertainment industry or in sports or in movies or whatever the case may be, it is the working class person that has put them there by having an interest in their personality or whatever. But I'm saying all this to say this one thing. No matter how much money you have, people always remember how you treat them. They always remember how you treat them. They might not remember where you are on the billionaire list or the millionaire list, but how you treat them. Case in point, Oprah Winfrey was out of the country. She was shopping and the store owner didn't want to service her. This is from years ago, an incident, and she ended up, quote unquote, buying the stores without really, nailing down the details, whether she bought the building that the store was in or the entity of the store itself. She exercised the influence that her money allowed her to do based on that person's attitude. So all that being said, we emphasize again that over the next week, I'm gonna try to get everything ironed out with the differences in the phone numbers, get the apps working in the proper order. And in the meantime, if I may or may not have full access to certain areas on Facebook, Instagram, or WhatsApp, and then things are kind of tilting towards Threads as well as a connection to Instagram, then you kind of have to bear with me. You can tell when I'm not able to influence things or don't have hands-on control, because it's a couple of things that I do not allow or don't like or prefer not to have on my pages. And one of them is any displays of guns. Those I prefer not to have. Whether it's like a pose or I'm showing you something or just a picture of a gun or somebody decided they wanted to put on a little pose and they got a gun. No. The other thing is, and this has to be taken in context, transgender, anybody associated with the LGBTQ community, no, because I don't agree with that. And I say that in this context. People do come on, but they're open enough about their position to say, well, I'm a member of the transgender community, or they show the colors of the LGBTQ community. And I say hi to everybody, believe it or not, that's on the page I've said hi to. Celebrities, regular folks, whoever, I've said hi to every person that's on the page. So the opportunity comes for conversation. I feel, since I don't agree with the way you think and what you want to involve yourself in, speaking of the LGBTQ community, that you might be more comfortable around people that think like you do. And so that's how I handle that. And it's usually comparable enough and has not lost any element of humanity for them to agree that they probably would be comfortable around people that think like they do, since I don't think that way. So those are like the two main things. Everything else, religion, believe it the way you want to, act on it the way you want to, being involved as much as you want to. That's your choice, your decision. I have no qualms or queries with anything other than that. Entrepreneurship, I'm encouraging that. I'm open to that. It's not like you have a physical space somewhere where you have to pay the rent and keep the lights on and the doors open. You can present yourself reasonably, and overall guidelines that's associated with social media, and there's no issue. So while I'm working these kinks out, bear with me, understand that, and we'll keep things moving. The same with the advertising for brands and for products and everything else. That's all me, hands-on, pressing buttons, making selections, letting people take a breather, all this other kind of stuff. So that's where we are, the tale of two phones, the sideshow with Theodore Parker. So I had also, since this thing was in play like it is, considered, if I wasn't able to access Facebook, what would my options be? So as you know, I mentioned YouTube as well. And I said, well, if I just have to send it just to YouTube and not able to send it on the feed for Facebook, how would that affect the audience being able to access the show? So my research says this. Yes, YouTube is a global platform that reaches around the world. As of August 2024, YouTube has localized versions in 104 countries, one territory, Hong Kong, and a worldwide version. YouTube is also available in 80 different languages. Here are some ways YouTube reaches a global audience. Countries with the highest penetration as of April 2024. The United Arab Emirates had the highest YouTube penetration at 94.2%, followed by Israel at 93.6%, and the United Kingdom at 90.6%. Countries with the largest audiences. India has the largest YouTube audience with at least 462 million users, which is about 38.4% of the adult population. The United States has the second largest audience by a raw user count, but a much higher proportion of the population uses YouTube, with about 77.7% of adults using it. And then it goes on for the content creator, to pathways to actuate their presence on YouTube. So there you go. YouTube has 4.95 billion monthly active users based around the world. So if it comes to that, you still will be able to see the side show with Theodore Parker. And that's that for that part of it now. But I advocate, that if you have family or family members, that it's really important to stay in touch with them. I mean, we all have ego issues sometimes, or emotional roller coasters that have nothing to do with the actual fact that we need to stay in touch with each other. So please give that some thought. Monday, August 19th, 2024, top stories. House GOP impeachment report accuses President Biden of egregious corruption, which he has denied. This is related to whether or not he had any participation in his brother's businesses or in Hunter Biden's businesses in regards to his being president of the United States while using his office in that regard. Russia struggles to respond to Ukraine's incursion as advancing forces destroy key bridges and war potential. Harris reacts to Trump personal attacks while on Pennsylvania bus tour. Senator Lindsey Graham, Trump the provocator, the showman, may not win this election. Next one, home builders tell VP Harris her housing plan needs to address regulatory barriers. Next one, Magi mood swing. Some Trump voters are denying Harris's progress, but others say they're worried. Next one, nobody cares what you're entitled to. Governor Sununu on Trump's attacks on Harris. Governor Chris Sununu agrees with former Governor Nikki Haley, and he's the Republican for New Hampshire. Nikki Haley's Republican governor for South Carolina, who says former President Donald Trump should stop personally attacking Vice President Kamala Harris and stick to what matters if he wants to win the 2024 election. Next, John Aprea, the Godfather Part 2 and Full House actor, dies at 83. U.S. and South Korea begin joint military drills as North Korea accuses them of invasion rehearsal. And then on the top 10 stories, the last one, human remains found on husband's property in search for Michigan woman missing. Husband and wife. So those are the top stories for today, Monday, August 19, 2024. I think I kind of brought you up to speed with the tale of two phones. And I think where the cell phone provider miscued was they sent the replacement phone to the wrong address, and whoever was responsible was a little bit too embarrassed to admit that they didn't have the current address and didn't make the correction. So that's the last comment on that part. This is a sideshow. I'm Theodore Parker. Oh, I do want to add this. Items in the news that have struck my interest. There have been talks about Israel and Hamas and a third party coming to the table once again for talks. And I was watching this on national TV broadcast, and the commentator said on the subject of Israel and Hamas coming to the table again, there are no Hamas leaders, representatives left to come to the table. Point made. Definitely point made. That's it. Hashtag